What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? If you want to hear interviews from industry pros, get first looks, and have access to endless comic content, wake up. Please wake up. You're in a coma. Your mother misses you.
Alright, go ahead.
What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? This is Judah Radd. I'm here with Robo. And we got some fun guests here today. We got
Sorry,
Jared Hunter.
I am here, by the way. I don't know if you heard me hop on.
God?
No? Oh, shit. God?
Got it. Australian.
Oh,
It's your conscience.
sounds like my conscience. Hello. We have Ree here, too.
Woo
We're
woo.
blessed with the company of Ree. And then we also have my friend Sam Stone. So, hey, if anyone's who's been here for our lives or have watched our show, they probably know both of you guys. But just real quick, starting with Derek. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. As said, my name is Derek Hunter. Currently, I'm a writer-artist on Pretty Violent for Image Comics, and working at Netflix on Kid Cosmic as a designer, which is Craig McCracken's new show.
Dope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool. Sam?
I'm Sam. I'm a columnist and reviewer and interviewer over at CBR. I've done some translation work and some freelance work over at Image. And what else have I done lately? I've just done some coverage for Netflix for that Killer Queen for the Babysitter sequel that just came out. And
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty good. So if you're a big fan of self-aware horror, then
I am. I'm also a big fan of McG.
Did that already come out?
came out on
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, I saw the Babysitter, but I didn't see
you
any
like-
news about a sequel even.
Did you like the first one, Derek?
I did. I mean, I watched it right when it first came out,
Yep.
so I don't have like a huge memory cache about it, but I thought it was fun.
Nice. I liked it too.
Are you going to be audio only, Ree?
I'm working on some technical issues,
Okay.
and I'll be right with you.
Alright, dope.
Did you guys like Terminator Salvation?
I talked to him about Terminator Salvation. I did because there was no way I was going to talk to McG and not talk about the
What
OC and Terminator Salvation.
What did you say?
He's got a director's cut of Terminator Salvation that nobody's ever seen. He's like, maybe I like it better. He's like, it's darker, so
Wow.
I didn't want to do it, but I've got
Okay.
it. So there's a whole release the McG cut, I guess.
Release the McG cut. You know what? So this is a very petty gripe, but one of my gripes about Terminator Salvation is there's this like trope where super strong, intimidating character is chasing a much weaker character. They finally catch that weaker character, and instead of ripping them apart, they just throw them. You know?
and leave
Yeah.
them kind of like wobbly. Like,
Now they have a chance to recover.
Yeah,
And, like,
exactly.
that scene where like the Arnold one comes back, the T. What was it? What was the first Terminator's nomenclature?
Yeah.
TI-83. Is that what you said?
Yeah. TI-83 plus. No, the
I had a calculator like that.
yeah.
Let's see.
What,
13.
your calculator tried to track you down and throw you into a
Nah, it was just I think it was a TI 1000 is what it was.
Is that Ree? Hello, Ree.
Ree.
What's up? Hey.
How's it going down under?
Look, we're all upside down. The water flushes back to front in the toilet.
I
Other than
feel like that would be
hunky-dory.
so like you guys constantly living with your blood rushing to your head. So I don't understand how that works.
Well, what you do is you just walk on your hands,
Oh,
and you sort it all. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, okay. No, that makes sense.
We got Comics Will Break Your Heart in the chat. Hello, Comics Will Break Your
Yay.
Heart.
Welcome.
Hey,
Polly's
I
here
have
too.
I have a random question for Ree.
Mhm.
How jacked are kangaroos?
Very. It's funny. My ex, the first story he ever told me when we were on a date, he's like, "Yeah, I have some PTSD because I had a boxing match with a kangaroo when I was 10 years old and I lost in front of my family." But they are like vicious. I don't know if you've seen that video floating
Yes.
around where this guy, his dog, gets like grabbed by one, and so he goes up and like socks
Punches
it in
it.
the face to get
Yeah.
his dog.
Yeah,
And
I watched
and
that
they-
video and I felt bad for the kangaroo. I gotta be honest.
Right.
But here's the thing: is the difference. You know, I'm gonna be Mr. Peter for a second. I would kill a kangaroo to save my dog, but the dog was already away, and then the dude squares up with this kangaroo, punches in the face. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just go.
He just
walk
wanted the
away.
viral.
It would
He
have
just
been
wanted to
fine.
go viral.
Yeah.
That
Just-
kangaroo is as jacked as Greg Capullo.
Yeah.
Ooh, pretty
That's
jacked.
pretty jacked.
Nobody's that jacked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I've Google image searched this, but I have totally. I've gone down the rabbit hole where I've just been like, Google, show me jacked images of kangaroos. And yeah,
They're jacked. Yeah.
All right.
Do you think that's the most jacked animal? Or is there one more jacked?
oh, there's got to be something that's far more sexual.
Silverback gorilla. The
of
silverback gorilla
course.
is incredibly
But
jacked.
they're probably not as cut as a kangaroo.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I'm a big dude, but I have like no definition. It's just amorphous blob of man.
I mean, there's got to be one silverback who like noticed that he's not as defined as he should be, and he's doing like keto and like high intensity interval training and
That's
stuff.
right.
Trying to like
That's right.
He's on a reverse diet. He's on his reverse diet, getting ready for show weight.
Yeah, and, but sometimes that dude just needs to realize he's 40 now and he can't compete anymore, and he should just be happy with himself. We're talking about gorillas. We're still talking about gorillas, right?
Oh man. Comics Will Break Your Heart says, I think I mispronounced his name. It's Capullo, isn't it? Greg Capullo. He's a great artist, and he did some Batman shit that I really like, which I think is actually my background on my tablet. Let's see if I can.
Spawn,
if this shows up.
Spawn, Batman.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Aaron, are you going for the Capullo look right now?
I mean,
Thank you, Sam.
I didn't mean to
Thank
laugh.
you,
I'm
Sam.
sorry.
I'm sort of going for the out of shape with no talent and not as good at guitar Capullo look.
Is he a ripper? Does he play guitar?
Yeah.
He shreds. You should check out his Instagram. He like shreds solo like playing
I know
like Zach
Daniel
Wild.
Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson shreds. Ryan Otley shreds.
Joe
We
Harris
need to
shreds.
make a comics band.
Okay,
What's
right.
happening?
I don't shred, but I bend a lot of notes and do legato. Like I would say, I do the thing right below shredding.
Yeah,
I do
or punk
power
rock,
chords,
punk
which is
rock.
like the bare minimum.
It sounds like you need to step your game up, Derek. What do you do besides create comic books?
Dude, I got a drum set and
There
a
you
guitar
go.
and
There
a
you go.
bass.
Nice. There you go.
got a drummer.
I play all the punk rock instruments because I was in bands ever since like 7th grade. And you go to enough band practices and you figure out how to play the drums. You figure out how to. I mean, not well, not great.
So we got Derek on the drums. We got Sam on rhythm guitar. I'm gonna claim lead guitar. Reek can sing. Robo, you got to learn bass.
All right,
just
I'll learn bass, but I was thinking I could be that dude that runs around with the cables, making sure nobody like trips over shit. Like, I got it, guys, and I bring you guys water.
You
Derek,
can, but you need to be as obnoxious as possible.
Derek, I
Otherwise
have
we
to
won't.
ask: Are you East Coast punk or are you West Coast punk?
Well, I grew up in San Francisco, so
Okay, there you go.
So East
going
Coast,
to
yeah.
going to shows at Bottom of the Hill and Gilman Street and.
Oh,
No.
sure. That means you got to see like anything like that. You're like from like Operation Ivy, like Ransom.
I was a little too young for that, but Swingin' Utters, AFI, Screw 32,
Is Suicidal Tendencies part of that scene?
they were down south. They're LA, where I am now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, all those like kind of early 90s, mid 90s Bay Area bands, I would go see a lot as a kid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dope. Hey,
By the way, before we move on, Judah, the way that Sam's wearing a hat is the way that you should wear a hat.
100%. 100%.
Oh.
It just
No, so check
just
this out.
doesn't-
Turn it around because with the Fu Manchu,
Doesn't feel right.
it looks like it should be a red hat now. So.
oh stop.
Dude,
On that note,
I'm getting ready to vote. I gotta look like I'm a redneck
Yeah.
in order to make it through the brigade
trial.
of racists. That
That's
are gonna
right.
Be,
otherwise they're gonna lose your ballot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right before you go into the little
Like-
curtain, like, right on, brother. Hell yeah. I'm like, ugh.
Gotta look like I'm voting the right way.
That's right.
How would Captain America have voted? Would he have mailed in or?
I think he would have filled out his mail-in ballot and dropped it off at the poll.
That's right. But he
To
also
avoid-
seems like the type of dude that like would keep it like super private. Like super private. Like the kind of like, it doesn't matter who I voted for. Vote American. And, you know, you just like, yep, hey.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know we're gonna.
Hydra.
Yeah.
So
Depending on which series you're in.
before we kick off, what I would like to do real quick, and I don't have an image for it, but Derek Hunter, you want to take a couple minutes and tell us a little bit about Pretty Violent for the people in the chat?
Yeah,
How's that going on?
I actually just sent the 10th issue into Image an hour ago, and that'll be coming out
Nice.
beginning of next month. And it's basically a story about a little girl who, more than anything, wants to be a superhero. But she was raised by a family of villains, so
Yeah.
she sucks shit at being a hero and knowing how to integrate into that community. And I mean, like, she makes it onto a hero team, and her welcome to hero party has coke and hookers and guns. So that's a party in her family, coke and hookers.
Right.
So
that was actually Robo's Sweet 16th as well.
Yeah, 100%. I too am from San Francisco, so no, I'm just kidding.
Where did you grow up?
Actually, was raised in Southern California, mostly in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's weird because I'm in the military, so in the I've spent many more years in the state of Washington. So I kind of consider Washington my second home now. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone should go buy Pretty Violent, though. Go buy
100%.
First trade just came out. Second trade will be out in December, I think.
Yeah.
November, maybe? December?
Definitely some Powerpuff Girl vibes, but a little bit.
I was gonna say the
It's
art.
like Happy Tree Friends.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I love Rody Montijo, the guy who was the creator of that show. He makes some killer comics and art and animation. He's the nicest dude on the planet.
Cool.
Dope. Hey, awesome. Sam, you got any new write-ups on CBR that you just released out?
I've been doing, so I did all the press, and I think the last bit of it comes out today. I did all the press for the Babysitter sequel. Did some stuff with Milestone for DC Fandom Part 2. That'll be out probably tomorrow, because that's coming back in February. And what else? Just announced DC's big December event, Endless Winter. That drops in December.
Endless Winter. Who's that revolving around?
Well, it's somebody you've had on your show before. It's co-written by Ron Mars.
Oh, shit. Yes.
And the other co-writer is the frequent collaborator, or was the frequent collaborator of Dan Abnett, who we also just had on our show, Andy Lanning.
Sweet.
So that launches. Right. That's going to be 9 issues. Different artist each issue, but I think Howard Porter does 2 because that dude's a beast. About ready to. He's so great. I'm about ready to get started on, I guess, F is for Family. They're starting up their press cycle again.
Oh yeah. I like that show a lot more than I thought I would.
It was really fun.
I felt the same way actually. I went into it and I was like, I don't know, Bill Burr, he's hit and miss, but it's really good.
Yeah,
it was so short. I forgot about it because it was in the first season, only 6 episodes or something.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's back.
It's really
It's like Bill Burr in Mandalorian.
What I love the most about Bill Burr and Mandalorian is that Star Wars is a world of people like Lando Calrissian or Poe Dameron or Leia Organa, and his character's name is Mayfield. Also, so you give Bill Burr the most generic non-Star Wars name.
And this is John Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the Star Wars universe, Mayfield is as exotic as
right.
Mace Windu would be.
Would be normal. Yeah.
Bill Burr is more of a Star Wars name than.
That's right. Yeah.
They should have just called Bill Burr.
That's funny.
So true.
You want to do that thing you do, Judah? We're gonna talk about what we're reading.
I am gonna do that thing that I do.
Yeah.
Let's say. Let's see how things are arranged on actual YouTube right now. So we're in a circle, and to my left is Robo, going down to Sam. Okay, so starting with Robo, going to Sam, going to Derek, then going to Ree. Let's talk about what have you been reading, watching, playing, nerding out on in the last recent times.
Okay.
Since we last talked.
So my I hate to say this, given that we're co-hosts of a comic book show, but really I feel like my first love is video games. So when I'm trying to get reading done, it's usually the video games that get me. So I just finished Ghost of Tsushima. I bought.
Yay, what do you think?
So good, so
Yeah?
good. I definitely bawled. Like you know how some dudes like to be like, yeah, I got a little teary eyed. Ooh, that hit me right here.
Right.
I'm not gonna say what it was, but at the end of Act 2, start of Act 3, I'm on the sofa like, what is going on right now? So great
I
game.
love it when games can do that shit to you, like emotionally destroy you.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, I was done. And then I had been playing Sony Spider-Man, and I put it off for a long time. But then I got Avengers, and even though they're not connected, I've been I don't know. I had this weird thing in my head. They're like, I can't start playing Avengers. I haven't even finished Sony's Spider-Man yet. And so now I'm going through Spider-Man, and then I'm going to start Avengers, even though they're not connected.
That's not a bad time, though. The Spider-Man game is good.
Yeah, it is.
It is good.
And then as far as what I'm reading, we had Dan Abnett on the show last week, and that got me starting reading Annihilation to get like kind of caught up for the whole deal. And even though that we've already interviewed him, I'm still reading through it because what an awesome storyline. Judah, you were right. You were right.
Thank you.
And that's on recording now, too, so
Yeah, part 1 and 2.
you
Go
can
check
play
it
that
out.
back as many times as you want.
That's all for me.
Mr. Stone.
It's just Steve.
Well, let's see. I've been doing a deep dive of Darwin Cook's work because it's Darwin Cook. Like it's just so good. It still holds up. All these, he was somebody that I never got to share a beer with or anything. That I always would have liked to have done that. I mean, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby would have been cool, but I don't even think those guys drink. But
just do cocaine.
Yeah, Darwin Cook. I've been doing a deep dive. I'm in the middle of his. I just wrapped Batman Ego, and I'm in his Parker books right now. His Parker graphic novels. And let's see. In terms of video games, the home office has a Super Nintendo and NES setup, so I've been doing.
Oh, yeah. You're working your way through retro.
Right, yeah. I think I'm going to play through every single Castlevania game across the month of October.
Yeah.
There's some games that I've never beat Castlevania 3 because it's so fucking hard.
It's hard, yeah. It's stupid hard.
But I want to give it at least give it a go because I've only beaten like Super Castlevania 4, Symphony of the Night, and Lament of Innocence. So there's a lot of untapped Castlevania out there.
Do you like
Ooh,
yeah.
that is sexy. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah,
When I see that, my first thought is.
Which is supposedly super bad for it, but
yeah, because you get saliva in
That's
there.
right.
That's
right.
Use compressed air.
Dust
But
off.
yeah, Derek, have you
Nice.
ever beaten Castlevania 3?
No, the moving clock tower thing is like I never get past it. So
It's tough. It's really hard.
how many?
Sam, do you like the Netflix show of Castlevania?
I do.
Oh.
I do. Even if it was show run by Warner.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Great show.
Derek, what you reading?
Great show. Wait, hold on. Before you go, how many limbs would you sell for a Dark Souls style Castlevania game new? I'd give at least one leg for it because they have pretty cool prosthetics now.
it's bonkers that Konami doesn't seem to know or have interest
Isn't that crazy?
in like how to keep developing their properties. Like Castlevania, Metal Gear, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Apparently they Silent Hill, that's another one. Apparently they make more money off of like their pachinko machines in Macau.
Yeah,
And so-
I've heard that.
Oh.
The arcades, yeah.
But still, what?
Yeah. Yeah. But is that a indicator that the pachinko games are more fun, or is that just a failure on their own marketing and development? You know what I mean?
Well, it's gambling.
Yeah.
Gambling is always going to make more money than video games.
Fair.
because people are stupid.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's so easy and cheap to make a glorified slot machine. It's like how many millions of dollars? You were talking about Avengers. How long was that in development, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
How many billions of dollars was sunk into that?
That's right.
Yeah.
It it takes like I think like thousands of people programming code to make something like that happen. I mean
over years.
I mean, thousands of man hours at least.
Yeah, at least thousands of man hours. What have you been into lately, Derek?
Well, first to go back to Sam talking about Darwin Cook, I did get to have beers with Darwin Cook.
No big deal. No big deal.
2003, we I was at a really small convention in Las Vegas that just nobody was at, and I was able to, like, not even many creators were there, so I was brand new in comics and just told him how much I loved his work. He's like, let's go get a beer. And
That's
so
awesome.
That is
he
super
was
dope.
a prince. He was such a good dude. He was super, like, gracious with his time to a brand new kid that, you know, had just done his first comic book. So, good dude.
Right on.
Nice.
That's
That
right.
is pretty.
Are you playing any video games? I saw you brought out the NES game. Are you playing those?
Yeah. So right now, my kids deleted my Breath of the Wild save. So, and I had like 400 hours on
So
it.
how is
goodness.
that process between, like, so you have
Murdering the
children
and burying the
yeah,
children.
well, no, but selling
actually
them,
didn't-
putting them up
actually
for
didn't.
adoption, is that an easy process or?
Yeah.
Did you burn their presents in front of them? Did you decide anything?
I'm like,
Christmas isn't happening this year,
early.
kids.
I actually didn't care, oddly enough. So I'm just playing through it again. I've got about 7 shrines left to beat, and then I'm caught up to where I was basically.
Mhm.
But I just finally got the last issue of Daniel Warren Johnson's Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Ooh, yeah.
So I read through that, and I don't know if y'all have read that, but that is like
No.
really cool Elseworlds type
It's
shit.
fucking rad. I've only read issue 1, but I loved it.
Huh.
It's so
I-
different.
I think you'll really enjoy. DC just let him have fun with some of the mythology and characters in ways that I think if the big two would allow people to just swing for the fences more often. Like, I did not like White Knight, but I appreciate that, like, it was
So different.
it was different and weird, and all these Black Label books just seem to be that. So I really like Dead Earth. I read everything by Robert Kirkman. I read all the Skybound stuff.
He's pretty good.
I'm
What's it called?
really enjoying Stealth.
Fire.
Stealth is really good. Nate Bellegarde draws that, and he's just fucking awesome. He's so great. And then Firepower, because, I mean, I love Kirkman's writing. He writes some of the funnest comics in the industry, like, period, stop, full stop. But Chris Somney is just, he makes me cry. Like, he makes me just want to quit everything. But yeah, that's kind of like, I'm enjoying Firepower and Stealth, and then the Wonder Woman Dead Earth, and then I dropped like $400 on that. I don't know if you saw that Analog Pocket video game system that
Oh my god.
pre-orders.
Amazing.
So
Really?
so it's like a Game Boy clone basically, but it plays Game Boy and Game Gear and Atari Lynx cartridges.
Sorry,
It's like an emulator. It's like a small emulator kind of thing.
No, it like plays the cartridges, and it's like has the hardware, like real hardware emulation, not ROM emulation.
I see.
Wow.
So
That's pretty dope.
it's like, yeah, it's got like a super nice screen, and it's, anyways, I've sunk a ton of money on that, and yeah,
How
it's kind of
How much is that? How much is that setup?
So the system itself was like $200,
Okay.
and then you have to buy like adapters for the other video game systems to
Mhm.
like play on it. So it was like, I think all in, it was like $350 or something like that for like the cables and the screen protector and all that shit.
I haven't played Toe Jam and Earl in 30 years, but that would be such a nostalgia trip to get my hands on that game.
I haven't even heard of that game in a long ass time. Shit.
Yeah.
Heard in a long time.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Ree? Ree, I know you're gonna give us some like indie gems here. Shit that I've never heard
Actually,
of. She's gonna be like, no, Batman and Spider-Man.
yeah,
That's what
no. We'll see if you can guess. Can you guess what this image is from?
Is this an Ice Cream Man one?
I mean, it looks like Ice Cream Man. Maybe this will give it away.
Nope.
I've been reading Alien comics.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Because of all the bullshit that happened on Twitter with old mate Greg Land, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go read some fucking good Alien comics.
There it is.
And they're fucking excellent. I've been reading the omnibus. Sorry.
Awesome.
Which,
Nope.
did I miss something? Oh. Okay.
No, I'm just being vocal. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Gaming wise, I haven't touched Avengers because I'm broke, but I have been playing The Forest because I bought it for $10, and it's excellent. I haven't played it since Alpha, and it's like got all this new shit. You can build tree houses and fucking boats and shit. So I've been having a blast.
Man, The Forest. I want to try to get that. Mileen's in the chat. She said it's not really her kind of game, but I think I'm gonna get it.
It's scary.
Is it?
Well, it depends how you play it. It's one of those ones where you can be peaceful mode, or you can like ramp it up. If you play normal, there are these like naked cannibals that chase you and try and eat you.
Okay.
Why naked cannibals?
Why not?
Because if you're a cannibal, why would you need clothing?
That's right.
I'm not sure what the connection is there.
I just figure if you live in a society where you are the food that your peers consume, you might want to be a little bit more modest about displaying yourself. I would try to look unappetizing.
If someone was like, if I sliced off a bit of my arm and was like, hey, would you guys eat this? Would you eat it?
No. What?
No.
Why not? You don't want to try human meat?
I'd still be horrified. I'd be horrified that you sliced off a piece of your arm in front of me. It would take me a while to get over that.
Am I starving? Am I starving?
Sure.
Okay, if it means life or death, I'll eat your arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life or death? Great. All right. We're all agreed.
Well, I'm just not chilling. Like, I decided to visit fucking Down Under one day. Like,
how are we preparing?
Let me get you a steak.
Yeah.
How are we preparing your arm? That makes a difference for me. I mean, is it
like American, like bacon, like American bacon?
I have to say, there is an art piece that was done in New York a couple of years ago where two people, a man and a woman, were facing a projection, and a man sliced off some skin off their back and cooked it in front of them, and they ate it, and that was the art installation. So if you feel so inclined, you can actually go see people eating other people.
No.
Nothing.
So we'll transition to the chat real quick. Let's. Oh, wait.
What's your favorite Castlevania game?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And how do we beat 3?
Sorry, wait. So Judah started. It's almost like the dealer. We'll end with the dealer. Judah, what are you reading? And playing?
Okay, well, thank you for asking. I'm still reading through Grant Morrison Batman. I'm reading Totally Awesome Hulk by Greg Pak, and then I'm still reading Quantum and Woody, which, by the way, multi-million-dollar idea. Quantum and Woody should be adapted into like a Venture Brothers style Adult Swim show, and it would kill.
Yeah.
I started watching Quibi finally, just out of curiosity, and
Derek laughs. Idiot. No.
The concept is cool. I was sitting there with my phone watching it, and you turn it vertically, and it doesn't look awkward vertical. It looks like it's meant to be vertical. And you put it horizontal, it looks like it's meant to be horizontal. I was watching that show, Dummy, starring what's her name, Anna Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole concept of the show is it's like she has an imaginary friend that happens to be her boyfriend's sex doll. So it's like very funny. It's just like interacting with this sex doll.
The Reno 911. They did new episodes for Quibi.
Really?
Yeah.
They did an entire new season, and they just got renewed for another one.
That might be a selling point there.
Well, that's a reason to check out.
Because every episode's less than 10 minutes, right? So there's like no filler. They get the joke, and then they're done. It's awesome.
It's toilet TV. Like, I don't mean that as an insult either. It's like, oh man, I gotta take a dump. Let's see what's on Quibi.
That's some of the best
If you watch
content.
this drama with Christoph Waltz, that'll get me right through this.
Yeah.
You just watch Quibi until your feet fall asleep, and you're good. That's good.
It defeats the purpose if you sit on the toilet for 3 hours watching Quibi. You know what I mean?
Damn it.
Well, let's. I'm not going to ask you what you're playing because I know you're an asshole who keeps telling me you're going to hook up your PS4 and never do. But it's cool.
I keep getting distracted by comics and movies.
The opposite of me,
Like
yeah.
the yin and yang. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the chat real quick. We got a couple people in the chat. Hi, Glynis, Aramis, our Discord architect, Skitchuti, Polly.
Hi, Aramis.
Let's see, that's Aramis again. Comics will break your heart, guys. If you go ahead and click that name in the logo, and you'll go to Comics will break your heart's channel. Go ahead and follow that. Polly again.
She does outstanding reviews of comic books.
Oh yeah.
And she also has some cool interviews with creators on her channel.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Not as cool as ours, but I mean, it's cool if you're bored of ours. No, I'm just kidding.
No, just kidding.
I mean, it's the second best interview channel you'll
It's
see.
the second best, absolutely, yeah. Michael Malone, who I hope this is not a HIPAA violation or violation of your privacy, but has COVID-19. So wish Michael Malone some good health and a quick recovery.
Also, go to hospital, you nong.
Yeah.
If you're not breathing, go to hospital.
Idiot. No, just kidding. I love you. But I did ask in there, what are y'all reading? Polly says, I'm still on the Buffy comic books with Weekly X-Men. Aramis just finished the X-Men Dawn of X Volume 6. Glynis Whites is currently reading Midnight in Chernobyl, and it's bonkers
sounds
interesting.
What is that like?
Yeah, Glynis, go ahead and throw that in the chat. What is Midnight in Chernobyl like? Respawn showing a lot of interest in those books. And then Respawn, if you want a good Buffy comic, she says, go to Boom. Dark Horse gets it's either good or really bad. And
Interesting.
yeah.
I haven't actually read any Buffy comics. Have any of you guys read Buffy comics?
No.
I never
Sam
read
has.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you? Sorry. Would you say the same, Sam? Like from your experience, or?
Well, the Boom relaunch has been really good. They just did their Hellmouth crossover between that and Angel. Several. It's hard to tell. Like I want to say it was this year but time has no meaning anymore. I think it was this year. Yeah, no, the Dark Horse stuff is fine. It just it depends on who's writing.
Okay. I've
Is
been
it
reading that
canon
new
with the
Willow
show?
series, which is decent.
It's supposed to. The Dark Horse stuff is supposed to be like season 8, and then Boom stuff is a complete relaunch. Like she finds out that she's a Slayer, like in the first arc or whatever. Like she meets Angel in the first arc.
Oh, dope.
Interesting.
Dope.
What were you saying, Ree?
There's a new Willow comic that's come out this year from, I'm just looking it up now, Mariko Tamaki and Natasha Bustos is the artist, and it's really good.
Which Willow? Willow from Buffy or Willow like Willow?
Willow from Buffy,
Oh.
yeah, so, oh my god, I can't believe you
Interest
actually
level.
know Willow.
I'm completely like. The
Was it?
Buffy verse has been completely out of my purview.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something I never really got into.
If you want something happy and joyful to watch during the pandemic, you should watch Buffy.
Okay.
It's
I do
stupid.
like happiness and joy. I'm a fan of both of those concepts.
It is pretty CW-ish though. So.
Ooh, that's a deal breaker for me.
So.
I can't tolerate
But
CW.
it was a 90s. It was a different time.
I only like glossy stuff that looks like HBO. That's all I can watch now.
Level.
So
There's a new season of Chef's Table that just came out.
ooh, I know that's your favorite.
It is because whenever I watch an episode of Chef's Table, I think I don't have to write about this. Latest season's all about barbecue. So
Nice.
if you like barbecue,
Fuck yeah.
What do you
I
watch?
love barbecue.
What do you watch? I know we said reading and playing. What are you watching on TV, Derek? Are you watching anything? Any shows?
I really enjoyed Dave on Hulu. I don't know if any of you watched that.
I've heard of it. I hadn't started it yet.
It was.
What's that about?
It's about Lil Dicky, that rapper.
Yeah.
It's kind of a semi-autobiographical show about his rise from like middling YouTube success to like stratospheric rise to popularity. And the arc of the first season was just really interesting. The characters are all like,
is it like an Entourage kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess kind of a little bit, yeah. But the characters all have their flaws and their strengths, and they're played up in really interesting ways on the show. So
cool. I would love to watch that. I had no
definitely.
idea that Little Dicky had a show. If anyone hasn't seen it, you need to go after you watch this on YouTube. Type in Little Dicky Pillow Talk and watch that 10-minute video. It's fucking
He's fucking hilarious.
You guys want some news items?
Hell yeah.
Yes, please.
All right, news items. So the first thing that we got here, Rorschach writer, which means Tom King, pulls back the curtain on a quote, very angry Watchmen follow-up. I'm gonna just read this real quick. This is Tom King's quote. Excuse me. It's the what is it called? White Claw that I'm drinking. Set in the year 2020, Rorschach isn't a direct sequel to the 1986 comic book series by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, nor a continuation of Doomsday Clock, the 2017-2019 series by Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. That blah 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 blah. Instead, instead it's a comic very much about the world we live in today. Very much an angry work. So what does that mean to you guys?
Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about this because I got, you know how Google recommends you stuff based on your interests? I got this article served up and I was like, cool, I'm going to read what Tom King plans to do with this series because I have no idea what his idea is.
Right.
And I started reading and he's like, you know me, I fucking love a 9-panel grid, but I was like, all right, we're not doing 9-panel grids. We're not doing the quote at the beginning. We're not the thing about reading Alan Moore, the transitions are all built in puns. Someone will say they're hungry, and the next panel someone's eating, and someone will ask for the time, and the next panel someone's looking at their watch. He's not doing any of that shit, so I'm just like really curious because he's like, I don't want to do something that people expect. So we're going to copy him in a way different to different to the way that you think we copy him, and that has got me so intrigued. What do you guys think he's gonna do?
I can't even imagine what this is about because it's not a sequel. It's just like what it said. It's not a sequel. This Rorschach is not the same Rorschach, and yeah, I don't know. I like the visuals I've seen.
So you guys,
importance, yeah.
so you guys know me. I don't mind talking politics and just mixing it up that way. But I will say this much: if it is like a super on the nose, like talk about today's like political environment, especially from a U.S. kind of standpoint. It's gonna be weird hearing this from me, but I'm gonna find that very boring. I really hope we don't see some like Proud Boy stuff or anything super Trumpian. Just because I'm so like inundated with that kind of information now, to where if Rorschach is about just that, like super like direct about it, then it's gonna be irritating.
Tom King is definitely not a Trump guy.
No. I'm saying even if it's on our side, you know.
Well, Rorschach would be a Trump guy.
100%.
Probably.
100%. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping, Derek, is like you still have all these fucking cucks that idolize Rorschach, and I'm
cool.
He's not a good dude.
He's just unironically use cuts.
I mean, it's ironic, but like.
And everyone thinks he is. It's
Yes.
the dumbest shit.
It's the dumbest shit. And Alan Moore himself has come out and said, like, if you identify with Rorschach, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to you because I wrote him to be a complete piece of shit. He's like Batman in reality, homeless, eating beans out of a tin. His fucking language is all fucked up because he doesn't talk to people very much. He doesn't shower. Like, it's just nuts. Why on earth would people look at him?
Mildly racist. I think.
That's right.
I will say this much: he actually might be against Trump, but only because Trump isn't right enough. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He's like,
and we might get some conflicts, but sorry.
He's just super. He's a very. I mean, I'm trying to think how to best articulate this. He is, Tom's calling this like a very angry book. He is like that raw nerve. To your point, Robo, like, I'm just kind of like emotionally exhausted right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm invested in the state of the country. I'm invested in the social issues in the country. but I don't need this fucking masked asshole.
Yeah.
Like pointing like.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a fucking.
Like it might some escapism might be welcome as well.
That's
Yeah.
right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. If Rorschach was on an episode of Chef's Table, maybe I would watch that episode. Maybe I would do that.
I don't think you guys can see it, but these visuals are pretty dope.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Tom King is not an amateur, so it might be a good interest. Just speculation. If it's too on the nose, then it'll be like, come on. Ace McG says Rorschach would look at Trump and think he was left of center.
Yeah. I also personally just Alan Moore made it pretty clear, like, hey, when this goes out of print, I get the rights back, right? And DC's like, yeah. And like,
Never went out of print.
those motherfuckers have kept it in print just as a fuck you to Alan Moore or whatever it was. I personally think it's kind of insulting that anyone makes Watchmen anything. Like,
It's
I
true.
would agree with you. Probably.
how, like, I understand from a reader's perspective, but the readers aren't making the book.
Right.
And
right.
so for a comic book creator to shit on the creator of Watchmen by continuing to make the thing that Alan Moore has at least indirectly stated he wishes was not made anymore.
Right.
Just to deny him royalties.
It's just weird. I just think, like,
That handshake had to have a wink behind it. Like it's mine. As soon as you're done printing it, it's mine, right? DC's like, yup. Sure is.
and then you get a guy like Tom King who's at the top of his game. Like, why make a reimagined anything? Just make this your own book and put it out. So, like, put it out through Image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
And
thing, like, you know, Rorschach is kind of a repurpose. They're all Charlton Comics characters.
Yeah.
Make a Charlton Comics character
That's
Blacklight
right.
history.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, I'm sure that shit is public domain at this point, right?
It's
Well,
gotta be.
Charlton was bought out by DC.
Oh.
So
Mm.
when you
But
when
they
you
didn't
read
get it,
Crisis on
though,
Infinite
did they?
Earths, like all those
Yeah.
Charlton characters, like Question's a Charlton character, Blue Beetle's a Charlton character, Peacemaker's a Charlton character, Captain Atom. They all get folded into the DCU by Crisis on Infinite Earths. And originally, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' pitch was, we'll do something with the Charlton characters. And DC's like, we just got these guys, they're part of our DCU, we don't want to mix people up. Create analogs to them. And so, like, Rorschach is Question, Peacemaker is Comedian, Captain Atom is Dr. Manhattan, so on and so forth. And yeah, that's where that all kind of, Night Owl's Blue Beetle, that's where it all comes about.
Well, here's a
Yeah,
question. Here's a question for you guys, real quick. A lot of times you start seeing things that, like, you know, people go, well, that's kind of fucked up. And then sometimes the reply is, well, if I don't do it, someone will. Is there any sympathy for someone like Tom King if it's like DC's gonna assign that to somebody? Why not it be me if I'm gonna try to do it justice? You know.
That's fine. Like, honestly, like, I fully realize that my opinions are my own, and they're a lot of ways based upon the satisfaction I get through making comics.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to say, that's fucked up that you would do that because this, and this, well, that's based on, like, that's not satisfying to make a book out of someone else's characters. It's like, well, yeah, not to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So for him, it's like, no, and maybe it's hubris, or maybe it's, you know, all true. I don't know. But, like, if anyone's going to take them, it should be me because I have good ideas. Like, okay, I get that. I still think it's shitty.
Yeah.
But I bet his heart is in the right place. I bet he's not, like, purposefully shitting on Alan Moore by
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
he very actively, like, kind of cribs. I mean, the 9-panel style is straight up, like,
He could be thinking, like, he could agree mostly, like, oh man, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing more Watchmen stuff. But, you know, I'll give people something that they don't expect, and
Have you guys
it'll.
read much Tom King? Because I've heard, like, obviously good things about the Vision, but I haven't read a lot of his stuff. So I'm curious to see what you
I like him.
I like his. I like his Batman run. I think I'm in maybe the minority on that. I know a lot of people didn't really care for it. I just thought it was kind of an interesting take.
The only people I've heard dislike the Batman run are the same kind of and this might be valid.
Careful, Sam doesn't like it.
That's fine.
Nope.
That's fine. So I would like to hear his side. People who are already very emotionally invested in the Batman story, and so since Tom King, took a couple left turns there, not left to right politically, but just kind of like went off track. It was like, oh, how dare you do this? And so I was able to enjoy Tom King's Batman run because I didn't have this 30-year emotional investment in the story. I thought it was great, especially what he did with Kite Man. That Kite Man story was so fucking good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me, do you disagree? Tell me, Sam. Go ahead.
Sam loved it.
I like Vision. I like Mr. Miracle. I think Strange Adventures is pretty interesting. I do a lot of stuff with that one, actually. I'm trying to... It gets a little interesting from my point of view. His Batman. Well, I love James Tynion's Batman. James Tynion Batman is great.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about Tom King's Batman is the one-off stories. I don't like the bigger story arcs. I like the one-off stories where it's like, hey, let's have Batman team up with Swamp Thing. Fucking awesome. Everyone should team up with Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Those are the moments that I really like with and like you were saying, Tom King's not a bad writer. It's just a book that I'm kind of exhausted on right now, at least with the way it's being promoted, where it's like, we'll see it when we see it. I'll probably, I'll probably write the review for it. But it's going to be an interesting ride, and I'm more curious to see how the general public responds when that first issue drops.
Where do you think the overarching story fails? Like, what for you personally?
It's a cerebral take on Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is very much the focus of his Batman run, which I get it. It's the dude behind the mask. It's the man in Batman. Yes. There are moments where I think it's awkwardly handled. There are moments that I think are delivered almost purely for shock value than a genuine emotional payoff. I would say the Nightwing thing probably being the most easy example for me to just kind of sit there and point at.
Dan mentioned that the other day. He's talking about Nightwing getting shot, and he was like, yeah, I just planned this Teen Titans arc around Nightwing, so that kind of sucks.
And then he found out in a conference where he's talking to
and another writer beside him, and also included him in his own story, and they're like, we didn't know that he was shot on a panel.
That's kind of like, I think another thing that didn't quite pay off for me, and this isn't in his Batman run, is Heroes in Crisis, where he makes, spoilers if you haven't read a 2-year-old story, but like, he makes Wally West the bad guy. What the fuck?
I've heard a lot of bitching about that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's like two of my favorite new Teen Titans, like Marv Wolfman, like George Perez era Teen Titans Breaking Bad in the same year by the same guy. I'm curious. Let me say this: I am cautiously curious about Rorschach. There you go.
If I had to guess, like if we're putting our bets down now, I would say people aren't going to like it. He's compared it to Citizen Kane, and I think it's because of what Robo just said and Sam just said, which is like people are emotionally fatigued.
That's
and they
right.
can't handle. They want the escapism instead of the reflection at the moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of escapism, maybe that's a good segue. I don't know. You guys tell me. But
So far, no.
So far, no.
So this is another callback to another guest. Actually, writer Rodney Barnes just struck a deal with HBO.
Fuck
And
yeah.
under the deal, Barnes will develop, write, and produce projects via his company, Rodney Barnes Productions. He's working with 11 films on the television adaptation of his best-selling graphic novel series, Philadelphia Sins of the Father,
yes.
which he will both write and produce. This is going to be a badass series.
It is
telling
going to
you.
be excellent. Yep. especially since he has so much creative control. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah.
Have you either of you guys, Derek and Sam, have any of you guys had a chance to take a look at Philadelphia or?
I've heard such good things about it, but
So good.
no, I haven't.
It was just starting when I was ending with Image, like working more directly with Image. And I remember there being a fair bit of buzz. And yeah, no, I've seen some preview pages and the art's great and the premise is great. You know,
it's really bad.
Jason Alexander is so good inside in that art. It's just like perfect.
It's next level. Yeah.
I have no idea, Jerry. Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Yeah, and who knows? He went straight from Seinfeld to draw. It's so good.
Jason Sean Alexander, not to be confused with the guy who plays George.
Right.
Right.
And the landlord in Harley Quinn.
That's pretty cool. And you know, it's not just Philadelphia. I mean, he used to be a writer on the Boondocks, so I think there's a lot of cool stuff that he can bring to HBO. So it's all around pretty good news.
Have you been watching Lovecraft Country on HBO?
Man, I haven't, but I've heard really good things about it.
Yes.
It's good. I like it. I've been watching that, and I've been watching The Boys on Amazon. But yeah, Lovecraft Country is really good.
We're about to get to The Boys.
Something in that vein, something that kind of aesthetic and tone for Philadelphia might be.
I think that would work. Yeah, it's definitely like horror with like elements of there's some racism.
Yeah.
I
actually asked him that directly when we interviewed him, and it seemed like he didn't. He said that wasn't really his focus. It was just a part of the story. Well, he just wanted to tell the story about power dynamics in general, but wasn't really didn't want it to be themed around racism exactly. It's not how I read it, but it's what he said. So I mean, that's the creator.
I think it's inevitable, right? When you're someone like him that has that life experience, that's going to come through in your work no matter what. But it's cool that he gets to decide how it's going to be shown to audiences. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry.
I think we put a lot. Oh no, I was the interrupter. I apologize. I think we put a lot of pressure on creators of color to make something politically relevant.
Yeah, we do.
And I think it's kind of unfair. You know what I mean?
It's not just even people of color. It's like anyone that's like a nationality outside your own. Like if you have Asian creators that come over, you're like, why don't you talk about Asian culture? Like it's just this expectation that everybody has for some weird reason.
To be fair, I didn't have any expectation for him to make this product, but he literally he literally had the imagery of John Adams with black vampires in shackles at their neck. Like I'm like, you gave me all the imagery. Like this is clearly what you're saying, right? He's like, yeah, kinda. And I'm like, no, that's what you were saying.
There's also something Derek, I'm sure, can kind of you don't want to show your complete hand.
Yeah.
You want to leave the room for interpretation.
Sure.
I think, at least for me, because, I think we all individually have trauma in our lives that the average person wouldn't see, talking to us or whatever. And when I write, I'm always hanging the story on some kind of lived experience, generally from some kind of traumatic experience. But personally, I never want to make, my next book I'm doing is kind of like a Lobo type, really crazy space pirate, blood, guts, murder, bounty hunter type shit. And it's going to be really fun and gory and silly, but it is going to be draped over the framework of the cognitive dissonance that comes from realizing that you grew up in a cult and that you need to escape that. And is the book about that? No, but if you're hanging everything over those bones, then you're going to be able to make those analogies and those metaphors wide open, but they'll still have a foundation. They'll still have a structure that makes sure that you're not mixing your metaphors and you're not kind of going off the rails thematically with your story. So,
That's going to be very relatable to me, by the way, so I can't wait to read it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, like,
You're a pirate?
like I
Yes.
said, but yeah, like you can still make a book about racism, or slavery, or the internment camps, or whatever it is in your own. If we're talking about people of color, like we were before,
Yeah.
I also think it's unfair to expect them to make a one-to-one translation of either their personal trauma or the trauma that their ancestors have felt. And I'm sure they would love to just have those be the bones of their story and just drape all these other things on top of it, like Lindelof did with Watchmen the show. Where the bones were this from a real lived experience, but built off of it and gone crazy.
That makes sense.
Maybe that's a bad example, though. I think that's a little.
No, it's a good example.
Yeah. Well, what's funny, before you go on to the news, the next news point, check this out. Ace McGee says Christian Cooper is releasing a graphic novel called It's a Bird. It's going to be a part of DC's new Represent line focused on marginalized voices. Good job, Ace. If there was a prize, you would have won it.
Why don't you put up the next image?
Boom.
Time now. So Christian Cooper, you guys remember Christian Cooper? He was actually an editor at Marvel. He recently, a video surfaced. It was back in May, so not that recently, but still pretty recently. Video surfaced where he's just out minding his own business, and some woman didn't have her dog on the leash, so he very politely, and you could see in the video, very politely was like, "Hey, you need to have your dog on a leash here," and she threatened to call the police on him, while making it clear that she expected that they would overreact and potentially hurt him. Mm-hmm. She put this all on video. Like, I was watching it, I was like, you're a piece of shit. Holy shit. But yeah, this video went viral, so he's writing a comic loosely based on that experience. As it's going to be the first in DC Comics' new digital series, Represent. I yell that because there's an exclamation point. It's Represent! It's going to feature a collection from could be traditionally underrepresented writers. So
that's awesome. That's super awesome. It's part of their because they hired a new manager who used to work. They hired a new manager. And
they're hiring people at DC now. I didn't know they were.
Hey, zing!
But it's part of their new publishing initiative. You're going to see a lot more digital titles and a lot more marginalized creators from marginalized populations. And yeah, like you were saying, this is the first in that line.
And that seems like a good story, right? Like that is a. I mean, you look at that story from top to bottom. This is a positive, feel-good story about a comic book that's getting created and marginalized voices having a space to tell their stories. And somehow, we'll press after I say this sentence, I promise. Somehow there's a certain group of people out there who have been sharing about this, talking shit about it, and how ridiculous it is that there is going to be a book like this.
I'll like it before it's out? It hasn't even come out yet? No.
So
it's going to be a bad book, and they haven't even read it. Yeah.
Because it addressed
one for free. Because the issue 1 is free if you guys want to go read it. It's free everywhere. You can read comics. So I just went and got it.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say bought it. And I'm having a scroll through, and there's it's really confronting in terms of this guy gets his binoculars and he's walking out and he's looking at birds, twitching, I think they call that. And each page in between, they've got all the wrongful deaths flashbacks. So they've got Brianna in her own bed and George with the knee on his neck. It's just there. It's painted into pages. Yeah.
That's deep. Wow. Okay.
Not escapism. Definitely not escapism.
I wouldn't say that.
but I still
it's
look forward to
important.
reading it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to reading it too. The art looks really good.
Nice.
Who's on art?
Please hold. I'm going to the cover.
Some elevator music.
Aletha Martinez.
Oh, Aletha, she did all Omni with humanoids.
Cool.
And she did the first couple issues when it was a thing. She did the first couple issues of Juke Joint over at Image.
Oh wow,
Interesting.
that's cool.
How is the stuff that Humanoids is made? Like, the only Humanoids thing that I own is a hardcover of the In Call.
I don't know. I know in kind of broad strokes, but I haven't honestly. You have read more Humanoids than I have.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm the subject matter expert then. The In Call's good.
And let's do the boys at the end, the last item. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about the boys.
Just before you move on, Judah, Ace says, if there was a prize, I want my prize, damn it. Harama says, you got a shout out on a YouTube video.
Yeah, he did.
Ace says he wants a Helen Mirren variant of Red signed by Helen Mirren. So if you could get that organized, that'd be great.
Yep.
I'm gonna do just a blanket shout out to Sketchody, which it is good to see you. And Sketchody actually gave us another segue. If you take a look down at what he actually said. Aaron,
dinosaurs or Black Panther?
Well, if he had just let her get there, it would have been a perfect segue.
sorry.
Go ahead, Judah.
Sorry, Ray. No, sorry.
Go for it. No,
I'm putting myself in timeout.
What's your headline, mate? Go ahead.
Comixology releases over 200 issues of Black Panther comics for free
Black
fitty.
Panther. Free fitty?
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
Free fitty.
Go get those
Why
Brian
so cheap?
Shelf Freeze books.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Is it because of Chadwick? Is that why that is a sale?
I think it's in honor of the passing of Chadwick. Yes, I think that's probably why. I didn't see anything specifically saying that, but it makes a lot of sense.
By the way, my sister and I were like, it sucks that he died and also that he was suffering for the past 4 years and couldn't tell anyone about it. So we went and watched 21 Bridges to see what it was like, and it was fucking excellent. Have you guys seen it?
So good.
It's really good.
I never give a shit when a celebrity dies, but man, for some reason, just that one, like, and I don't even like the Marvel movies that much, so it more just had to do with like up and comer just starting to do really awesome shit and picking his projects very carefully, and and the suffering in silence thing.
That was really kind of like what hit it home for me, was just like, wow, that's sad, and he done some really important work, and then when you start reading, I'm like Panther, 41, Marshall, all these movies that he's doing while fighting cancer, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is like, imagine if he'd done Black Panther in full health, like how, because in that he was so impressive and like muscular and doing heaps of fucking stunts, and he's being treated for cancer the whole time. Like, what the fuck?
Well, what makes it more tragic, I mean, that means, because I wasn't aware of his work before Civil War, so that means as long as I've been aware of his work, he had been fighting this.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Man.
Fuck.
2020 really just kicks you while you're down, you know? Like this, like...
Yeah, and then someone said, I want 2020 to die in a fire, and look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, my daughter sent me a picture of fires. The fires are in Oregon now, and there's like a fire tornado because of the heat. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I know. I'm in some Stephen King fan groups, and some of the places that they film Stephen King movies have started burning down, and people are really sad about it. Wow. It sucks.
Well, let's be sad about better things.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
yeah.
Holmes is nuts. Like,
no, the Stephen King sets, guys. Think about the Stephen King sets.
Yeah, but like, I'm just thinking Oregon, like,
no,
it's all the, you know, it's like Stand By Me and all that bullshit. But...
I want Goonies' house to burn down. That's the one.
Whose house? Sorry, I missed it.
Goonies.
The Goonies.
Do you still, wait, Derek? Do you still have family up in the Bay Area that's being affected?
Yeah. I've got a sister in the East Bay. It's not, and like even here in Los Angeles, like
the air, right?
Like the kids can't play outside right now. Like we've got
the air quality.
Air quality warnings.
Wow.
Mm.
So what in San Fran? Can you go outside or no?
Oh, I would highly doubt that would be something most people are doing.
Do you just like quickly run out to get groceries and stuff? Like, is that what people are doing, or?
I mean, yeah. I think they just say like, don't go outside.
Extended,
much. Like,
yeah.
No prolonged exposure to all this smoke and shit.
Did you see someone did? I know, like, people have put Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack over the San Fran footage, but someone actually went a step further and took, like, photos of San Fran and compared the color palette to the Blade Runner movie, and it's almost exactly the same.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I
it's
saw
dystopian as fuck. Yeah. It
We
scares
should have
me.
raked our forests, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. You just had to rake the floors a little bit, and you're goddamn rakers.
Nothing to do with decomposition.
Nope.
Or
Global warming.
it was. Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, I think we should address the real enemy here, which is those stupid fucking gender reveal parties, which I've been criticizing for years.
Shit.
Yeah.
If they had just listened to me 10 years ago.
What kind of like gender reveal party has like fucking pyrotechnics anyway?
A lot of them.
The
A lot.
best
This
one?
is not even the first one. This was a news item last year. Someone somewhere also started a major fire because they used the tannerite. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you?
Fuck, it's not a Kiss concert.
God, it's so stupid.
But also the concept is like, we're going to tell you about our child's genitalia and then base their entire personality around that.
I want
Like,
a
it's
party.
very-
telling.
Pandemic. This works on multiple fucked up levels, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want a
It's
party
the most
that
fun-
advertises if my baby is gonna have a penis or a vagina. Let's do this. This is gonna be the best
Well,
fucking party
gives
ever.
a whole different meaning to Love Gun, doesn't it?
Oh god.
It could not be more 2020. It could not be more 2020 for that.
Derek, have you ever had you've got kids, right?
Yeah, I've got 3.
Did you find out their gender before they were born?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of like the doctor just comes in and is just like, "Do you want to know?" And it's like,
Yep.
"Yeah, sure."
Yep.
But like, our kids are raised genderless, I guess. Like, we don't like our middle child, our son. He just like, he's either naked or in a dress all day,
Amazing. Same.
and it's like, I don't give a shit. Like,
That's
why?
right.
Why should I care? What
Yeah.
like doesn't
It hurts literally no one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, our family, like, we're all,
Chill.
who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't
Unless you
matter.
delete the Breath of the Wild save and then
Ooh,
Yeah. No, that's another level stuff. That's
that's
Well,
some next level.
it was my kid with Down syndrome that deleted it, so
I feel like an asshole. I'm so sorry.
he gets a raise.
cancel
He
cancel respawn.
Yeah, cancel
Hashtag.
gets- Why did you know? Why did you?
Yeah.
You fucking bitch.
That actually reminds me, we had an interaction with somebody on IG, and so this lady, she goes on IG and she makes a comment about Chadwick Boseman, and in the comment, this is all we know. We see name, we see a little tiny profile picture, and the comment was, "I was so sad to see Chadwick Boseman go. It was almost as sad." I'm paraphrasing, but it was almost as sad. It was even more sad than watching everybody die at the end of Infinity Wars.
Even more than that?
Even more than that. So us being the smartasses that we are, go into the comment. I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that you found the life of a real life human being almost as sad as fictional characters.
Even more sad.
But
than all these
even
fictional
worse than
characters
that, fictional characters that came back.
Okay, so let's say this. Let's ask this to the panel, and feel free in the comments, get on it.
died.
How fucking offensive is it? And maybe it's just me. How fucking offensive is all this fan art that comes out every time a celebrity dies of like them as their most known character?
That's right.
And like people like welcoming them to heaven or whatever, but it's like
As the character, yeah.
The character didn't fucking die, you pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But what I kind of find a little bit worse is like all the people sharing pictures of their kids crying just publicly online. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
That's set up.
Yeah.
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 Like they did something else to make their kid cry. They were like, before they started recording, they were like, "Your favorite superhero is dead. Also, I'm gonna sell your toys." Like they were like, eh. They were like, This is my daughter.
This is gonna be the best TikTok ever. But to go back to the point though, because when you tell us about your kid, so we make this smartass comment, and then the wrath comes because I cannot believe you are insulting me. I am autistic. And I can't believe, and then she goes in our Discord and was like, I cannot believe you're making fun of autistic people, blah, blah, blah. And this, I'm going to make sure. I'm like, how are we supposed to know that?
That's when you just check out.
Yeah,
there's no winning. Yeah, there's no winning in that.
Yeah. A smarter person would. I did DM her, but I'm not a smarter person.
No, it's because you're a good person and you don't want to be hurting other people,
That's right.
even unintentionally. I think
right.
that was what you were concerned about. Is 100%. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. Let me just double check.
That's what my DM was. I'm like, listen, you said a silly comment. There was no way for me to know that you were on the spectrum. And of course, the reply is, "Fuck yourself, leave me alone." I'm like, okay.
In the comments, who is Bill Sienkiewicz?
Bill Sienkiewicz.
Who's that?
Bill Sienkiewicz. Yeah, that's Paulie's favorite artist.
Oh,
and
cool.
Sienkiewicz.
He's pretty good.
Sienkiewicz.
Pretty damn good artist.
Yeah. Thank you.
A says, I'm autistic. That's not an excuse to view Black life as invaluable compared to fictional, mostly white characters. Zing.
That's a good point.
I like it.
Do you guys like Ed Brubaker?
Bill Sienkiewicz isn't drawing fan art. He's doing portraits.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I see that as very... I mean, like... And maybe this is just the elitist artist in me. Maybe I just hate them because they're bad art.
Hey, there you go.
I love it. Hey, Judah, to answer your question, I fucking love Ed Brubaker.
Really? You fucking love Ed Brubaker. Well, I also fuck.
Did he try to do a transition and we missed it?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
But about Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker. Sorry, go ahead.
I love Ed Brubaker. So there was a
good, man.
Salon. He is so
Shut the
good.
fuck
He's
up.
never done anything. He's never done anything that I didn't love. I liked his X-Men run a lot. I didn't love that as much of his other stuff, but he's never done anything that I didn't like. The Salon just did a really good profile on him, and I was actually reading it a couple days ago. I read the whole article. I don't usually read entire articles, but this was interesting. But he discussed his internal conflict between addressing the issues plaguing our society, like fascism and the pandemic, and also providing his audience with escapism entertainment. The notable quote from him was, "Pleasure is political, and joy is a form of resistance." Maybe I'm just a pretentious douchebag, but I found that really poignant. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Can you say it again?
Pleasure is political, joy is... What was it?
Form of resistance.
Form of resistance.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't know what to make of it. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was good. I like it.
But he was talking about...
That's why that happens.
Yeah. He was talking about Pulp. I don't know if you guys read it, but it's great. Image, Pulp, and he was talking about how when he first picked it up, he was trying to write something that was kind of an exciting Western, like escapist, but then he also couldn't help but also address society. And he's trying to walk that tightrope between escapism, entertainment, and also addressing the state of the world. And it's an internal conflict that he's faced with because he wants to entertain people. He doesn't want to double down on like, well, the world sucks. Why should our comics suck too? You know. But he also feels almost like irresponsible ignoring those things. So I don't know. Derek, as a writer, do you feel like that's a weird tightrope that you sometimes have to walk? Or
I mean, I'm definitely in that camp of comics should be fun. And like whether that's because they're silly and off the cuff, you know, or you know they're trying to say something important. I think like in the end, comics should be fun. So I do think you can say important things without dragging your audience into the depths of despair. You know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know I'm an anomaly with a lot of like comic readers. Like I don't love the 6-issue arc form of comics. Like I would much prefer like the one-shot stories like Sam was talking about with the Tom King, like Batman teams up with Swamp Thing. Like More,
yeah.
please. More, please. Like, I don't want to see a single issue, a story that Stanley and Jack Kirby would have told in one issue, dragged over 12 issues. Like, I'm sick of it. So, more fun, more action. Put your talking scenes in the middle of a fight. Like, I don't care. Like, have a guy give a soliloquy while jumping from a table to the ground. Like, I don't care if it's like the internal logic of it doesn't make sense. Just like,
Keep the movement.
So,
keep the movement going.
I have to say this. Your Pretty Violent are in six issue arcs though. Are we gonna start seeing more like single like story one shots out of you?
Well, we always try to make each story kind of self-contained in a way too.
I see.
And that's, I think, the answer is no.
No.
That Pretty Violent's done. I'm done with it after issue 11. So
Really?
So the second arc is going to be the last one, but the third arc was the planned third arc was going to be a little bit more of a Monster of the Week type thing. Like, she teams up with the hero, and it kind of started out with me wanting to do that, but once I started working with a co-writer, like, and I'm not saying that he pushed me a place I didn't want to go, but he's like, oh, and we could do this, and we could do this, and we could tell this bigger story. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Let's do it. But yeah, I do kind of want more pick up and read, like, where it's like, I didn't get the first issue, but who gives a shit? I'll try issue 3 and still have it be a satisfying experience.
Did I hear you right that you're gonna be done after the second arc, volume 2? That'll be you're it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the unfortunately, just the sales are not at a place where I can justify continuing to make it.
And is that yours? Is somebody else going to pick it up, or will that be the end for Pretty Violent, period?
Oh, no, yeah, that's fine.
Got it. Wow, that's a little sad, but hopefully we'll see more out of you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not done making comics. I've already got, like, another pitch in at Image, so.
Dope.
Nice.
There,
Awesome.
you know, when in terms of like working with Eric Stevenson, was there kind of a push to I'm always curious about this, to write that first trade and then kind of go issue to like a little more scattershot beyond the first trade?
No, Eric didn't give me any kind of feedback or suggestions on how the series should progress or whatever. Yeah, I just sent him an outline of like what the first few issues would be about, and like the first 6 pages of the comic and the cover. And then he was just like, "Yeah, man, sounds good."
Mm-hmm.
Show me.
I'm always kind of surprised how laissez-faire he is.
Oh, yeah, he totally is. And so basically just said, yeah, let me know when you get the first 3 issues done, and then we'll talk about getting it on the schedule. And like that was it. And then I sent him the first 3 issues, and he's like, all right, how does August sound? I'm like, okay, cool. So
very casual. Okay, all right.
So I had the first 6 issues done before the first issue even came out. So I'd already started on the second arc before I started seeing the numbers come in.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And so I'm like, fuck it. I'll just like keep going. It's it's fun. It's fun. I don't give a shit. So.
Yeah. So here's a personal question, and do you feel as the creator that the final issues then are affected, knowing that, because it sounded like you said that as the numbers started coming in, you were like, well, this will be the end. Does that affect the story of the final issues of Volume 2? No,
because we knew that how Volume 2 was going to end.
Okay.
After we wrapped up issue 6, Jason and I went to Vegas with our friend Ryan Otley.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Vegas and just had like a long weekend where we just like hung out and planned the next arc. And so yeah, it was just like we knew what it was going to be, and we knew it wrapped up the first arc as well as the second arc in like a really nice way. And then the third arc was just going to be totally different and more, like I said, more like she meets a hero that fights kaiju, and she teams up with him, and like she meets like a space guardian that's trying to keep a dragon from coming and swallowing up the earth, and
kind of like a Smallville, where each episode was time to meet this new villain or this new one thing, and
monster of the week.
Yeah. Definitely was going to be more of that, and I just think it's more satisfying to write those, and I think like I had aspirations to make Pretty Violent this kind of like story with like a very strong through line, even though you could kind of go up and down with like what the characters are experiencing. I did want it to have like a solid through line, but I also felt that kind of kept me from just exploring weirdness, because I was like, oh no, because we have to set up this thing that leads to this thing, and it's like, nah, I'm just gonna have each issue be fun, and if it has little seeds to drop in that maybe leads to something else, that's fine, but not like a big 12-issue arc payoff or whatever.
All right. Before we move on, it looks like we're solving major political issues in the chat. Wow, this got really deep in here. When Snickers introduced the ice cream bar, do you think that was
one that I love talking about? Sorry, I was just going to say, because these guys are talking about how I was in the chat as well, saying like if you're a writer, your stuff is going to be inherently political. There's just no avoiding it. And then some people were saying you can actively avoid being political in your work, but even being apolitical is political, in a sense. What do you guys think? Yeah? Would you agree, Derek?
Yeah. I mean, like, you have to make an active choice to explore your politics or to ignore your politics.
That's right.
The latter being cowardice, in my opinion. Yeah. But that's also again going back to my previous statement. Like, that's fine. If you feel like that's the way you need to do it, fine.
I think it's a tightrope, though. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Sam what he thinks. Like, when you're reading stuff, are you looking for political views? Does it annoy you if you see it there? Do you think writers should be?
It doesn't annoy me. It annoys me when it's not well articulated, because then it detracts from the message it's trying to tell. Or if it's insultingly blatant.
It goes back to what Robo was saying about Watchmen and Rorschach and stuff. It's just like, if it's too on the nose, like, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's not
like you're treating me like an idiot. Yeah.
It starts to feel like product placement when it's too on the nose.
That's right.
Where it's distracting.
It really does. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk to me more than 5 minutes offline, you'll know that I'm probably annoying with how much I want to talk about that stuff. So it sounds weird, but that's exactly it right there. It's like I'll talk shit about Comicsgate and Proud Boys and I'll write all day long, to the point where people are like, you don't get tired of that? And I'm like, nope. But when I read a comic book and you're like, hey, Trump is the bad guy, can you see how orange my new bad guy is? And I'm like, stop. Stop.
This is just like a offhand example. I think it was Supergirl season 2 that the ultra-nationalist group on Daxam, the planet that Mon-El's from, were leading a Make Daxam Great Again. I was just like, get the fuck
stop it. No. Off. All right.
Because when I think about fucking Daxamites, that's like, it's just like, it feels like you're spoon-feeding it to your audience.
Right. Exactly.
Which is why so many things fail, right? Like, I feel like that's the reason so many American remakes fail, is because they take something that's subtle and treats their audience like they have a brain and turn it into this, like...
ham-fisted thing.
Ham-fisted. That's exactly the word I'm looking for.
I think, did you ever see the American Old Boy with Josh Brolin?
No.
That kind of... It's interesting, because that was a Spike Lee joint, and it was like the most unexpected Spike Lee joint. Like, Spike Lee's remaking Old Boy? And the Korean movie's great. Korean movie's like
I've
one
seen
of the
Korean.
Awesome. And it's kind of this thing, that lack of subtlety and nuance. The Death Note, there's a big difference between the manga and anime,
That's
and the
right.
Netflix original movie, where you're just kind of
Oh man,
Which I didn't hate as much as everybody else.
that's because you haven't seen the animated series.
Stop
I mean,
it.
it
No,
had- what's his name?
stop. You're done.
William Dafoe is so good.
You're breaking up, Judah. Sorry. What's going on? The opinions of Judah Radd do not reflect the opinions of IFLC.
I mean, everybody likes William Dafoe, right? Right?
Yeah, sure.
I like him in The Lighthouse. It's great.
I do want to say, Ace says Gamma Ray is one of my favorite characters in Image. Period.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Next, got some Silk in our lives.
Last thing we got here,
Second
and
last.
I don't really know. There wasn't enough information about it to really talk about it too much, but Amazon is in talks for Sony's remaining fledgling Marvel characters.
Really?
We could be looking at a Sony
Verse?
Marvel, an SMCU, a SMU. So SMU, yes, Sam, I did say that. You can trademark. You can have it if you want.
Sam, I know
yeah,
I know you got some insider shit on this. What's going on here?
So we're gonna have Silk. We're gonna have Silk in Amazon apparently. So I don't know. I'm a little bit exhausted by. We'll. If it's good, it's good. But
Sam.
I'm kind of in the camp.
Sure, it's two verses,
Sam,
man.
Sam, what do you know?
About
Your
about
face just
Sony?
twitched.
Yeah.
I know. So we've got Olivia Wilde's all but confirmed she's directing a Spider-Woman movie, and
That's right.
you've got a Craven the Hunter movie, and you've got John Cena's in Spider-Man, the sequel to Spider-Man: Far From Home, and basically you're going to see. And everyone forgets there's a Morbius movie coming. There's a Morbius.
Oh
movie.
yeah. Oh yeah. Wow, I did forget that actually. 100%.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because that's one of those movies that that's going to test the Marvel Studios Sony relationship.
Yeah.
Because it kind of bridges that to Venom. Because there's Michael Keaton there.
Yep.
So you've got that going
Yep.
for you. And it's just it's one of those things where there was a meme going around the internet where it was Kevin Feige looking at his phone unimpressed, and it was Kevin Feige seeing Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer, realizing that character is in a movie that he is directing.
Yeah. That's great.
And I'm guessing Kevin Feige is probably going to ignore any of those plot twists that come from the Sony side.
Yeah.
Do you
The
think-
only way I could see it happening is if they decide to go the Sinister Six route for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
In which case you would, because it looks like he's building the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I really hope that what they do is this good handshake kind of deal where hey, we're gonna build a great universe. If there's some dick measuring contest that happens where Kevin Feige doesn't want this to happen, but Sony does it anyway, so then just the whole Netflix thing.
They wret continuity.
Yeah, they're well, you made me mad, so now I'm gonna do this MCU movie that undoes what you did, and then it becomes this split. That's gonna really suck because as a consumer, I want the Sony versus the MCU verse to be the same. Just roll alongside each other.
It almost happened, right? It almost happened last summer.
Yeah.
After
With Venom.
After Far From Home got $1 billion, they were Marvel Studios was we only get a certain percentage of that money.
That's right.
Could we get more of that? And it was apparently drunk Tom Holland that convinced them to amend.
I love that guy. He's so
they had a
good.
couple pints,
He's such a gem.
He's
Have you ever
too
watched?
pure for this earth.
He did a live stream.
Here's
He
a
did a
question.
live stream on Instagram, and he acknowledged my existence, which made me feel very special.
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland, yeah.
Wow.
You guys feel how weird was it for you guys when you realized you were getting to an age where you were older than Spider-Man, Batman, all these characters?
Thanks, Sam. Thanks
yeah.
for making us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. I turned 40
Thank you,
last week,
Sam.
so yeah, it's fucking great. It's super awesome.
If you're older than Batman, I'm Batman's age.
Yeah.
Just having it in my back pocket. It's I could be Daredevil, and then I'm in my 30s now. I'm that's just not. I'm not gonna. That's not.
I'm older than all y'all.
Hey. Look, Sam,
Hey,
if you
hey,
want to go
there's-
blind, I can always throw acid in your face, and we'll see if you
there's
get some
still-
super sensitive.
We're still old man Logan. We can all
They're
still
still
aspire to be. We can aspire to be old man Logan. So
Reed
Facts.
we're
Richards.
still.
Reed
That's
Richards.
it.
Doom.
You know one of the reasons why Frank Miller did The Dark Knight Returns?
Huh.
Because he was older than Batman. And he's like, well, I'm on the clock.
I didn't
Nice.
know that.
Nice.
So he's like middle-aged.
All right. So
What's the oldest like female? How old is Wonder Woman? Is she like 5,000 years old or something?
she's
So
year
in-
one. She's years one for sure as far as the continuity goes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so like Hippolyta is like, yeah, she's been around since like ancient Greece.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, depending on if it's like New 52 or movie or DC Rebirth, Wonder Woman is like relatively newer, but
Okay.
it's still because like they retconned it that it was Hippolyta. I can't ever pronounce her. Wonder Woman's mom
Mhm.
was like was retconned as being the Wonder Woman that was on the JSA and in World War II.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When was
Because
that? Was that New 52 stuff?
So that was like that was right around Infinite Crisis.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
Hippolyta and Wildcat, like Ted Grant, used to have a thing. And they were like, oh yeah, it's when she was serving with the JSA during World War II. And it was like, oh, that was the Wonder Woman on the JSA during World War II? That was
Oh.
basically how that all kind of came about.
So Dan Didio during the whole 5G thing, so year one, first gen, 1G, on the convention or whatever he did, showed that as Wonder Woman as far. That's where I was getting that from. So I don't know if it's been retconned. So
Look, I'm just gonna say I've got about 4,000 and something years until I'm as old as Wonder Woman. How about that?
yeah. Nice.
You'd never be older than Wonder Woman.
That's
Yeah.
well.
You never
I
know.
don't know. I can try.
Yeah.
All right, so our truly last point, the one we skipped over, just so we could talk a little bit about it, and then we'll probably be done. We'll wrap this up.
Probably bounce.
Is The Boys, right?
The Boys.
okay.
I'm all caught up. I watched the newest one last night.
So I
it's-
haven't watched any of the new ones, but my dad was dying to watch season 1, so we watched 4 episodes yesterday,
Nice.
and I've never seen him laugh so much at that dolphin scene
Oh
with
my
the Spice
god,
Girls.
so sad, so sad.
There's a comparable scene in season 2.
That's right. And both of them are sad to me. I'm such a fucking man.
pussy.
I'm like the dolphin thing was supposed to be funny,
Cock.
and then when the thing happened with the dolphin, everyone's like, "Oh!" I'm like, "Oh."
Hey, that dolphin was a perv. That dolphin was trying to get him to touch his wee-wee before he got
So it's
ejected.
still no.
Are you saying you deserve it?
What's that? Yeah.
They are apparently
If I had-
extremely erotic aquatic mammals.
Yes,
That's-
they're like one of
they're-
the mammals that actually masturbate, and they
Have you
They
guys
rape.
read-
They regularly
there's a-
rape.
There's a book by a guy that had a relationship with the dolphin. And it's this is like I'm uncovering so many of my interests that you guys shouldn't know about in this life. But it's really fascinating because they do think that they're closest to human beings in terms of sentience.
I believe it. I believe it.
They're
Do you
probably
think, you
Probably
think they're
smarter,
closer
is
than
that what
silver?
you
Do you think they're closer than silverback gorillas? Because silverback gorillas are very
said?
sensitive.
Chromosomally, no. Mentally, I don't know. No idea.
the real question is how jacked are dolphins?
How jacked are dolphins?
Not more jacked than
I'm jacked.
kangaroos. Not more jacked than kangaroos or Greg Capello.
They,
On a
I'd
scale-
imagine they're pretty They can hydroplane on beaches, dolphins.
Black
Have you seen that?
Linus.
No.
They're fucking
That's all-
so
that's what-
muscular.
I have
How
no
do they
idea.
get back in the water? Do they have to like flop their way back in, or
They walk. What are you, stupid?
Yeah.
No,
Their legs.
that gigantic dolphin penis acts like a tentacle and drags
That's
them
it.
there?
That's
ladies,
really disturbing.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably go ahead and wrap it up here. Did you guys have anything more to say about The Boys? It's really good. I really like what they did with Stormfront.
Sam and Derek, have you guys watched all of the new season?
I haven't watched any of it because I'm not really in like a nihilism mood, and The Boys is pretty nihilistic. Like, I don't watch Rick and Morty. I don't want to watch The Boys. Like, I'm just not interested in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
we
that's
did
fair.
we did a first look yesterday from Image put out a book called Big Girls, And at the end of our video, Aaron, Judah. Well, now everybody knows your whole name anyway.
Now I'm gonna get doxed.
You're gonna get redoxed. We already have your fucking address, bro. But would you recommend it? And that's actually one of the things I said. I said hearing how many people didn't even play The Last of Us 2 because of like, hey, where we're at, and do you really need more like sad shit in your life? I would say read The Big Girls if you want some cool shit. But if you are avoiding that kind of like down in the dumps post-apocalyptic bullshit, maybe skip it until after the plague is done. So.
I liked that first issue of Big Girls though.
Yeah, it really was good. But that
is like there's a big surprise emotional punch in that first issue.
Yes, that's
that part. I was like, fuck, like.
So if you're already sad, you might get to page 12 and go, oh my god, what the fuck is going on?
Like the first like half of the first issue, I was just kind of like, like I don't get what this book is trying to say.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't gonna like not finish it.
Yeah.
By the time I got to the end, I was like, oh okay, like everything kind of makes sense now, and Jason Howard is like a super good dude and a good artist, and
so so they sent us issue 2 to review, and that's what the video will be on for issue 2. And I would say that the story kind of obviously will go in the same vein. I liked issue 1 better than issue 2, but it really is, it's good. But
issue one, they knock out the world building like that. There's no dwell time on the world building. They're like, here's where we are. Here's what's going on. Issue 2 is really where the thread of the story starts to run, it's not it's by nature going to be a little less exciting than this drop you in this crazy world issue 1. But I still think it looks like it's going in a really cool direction based on issue 2.
I will say this much. Here's my only critique about it, and it kind of goes back to our talk about on the nose Trump shit. It's men, the boys that are born that get this disease will grow up to be monsters. But if you're a girl, talking cis and all that, is they do not become monsters, and it's actually the 300-foot women that you have to save. So it's like very like, okay, got it. And not all men grow to be monsters. So you can tell the monsters are the toxic males that are destroying the world, and then it takes women who, and it's kind of like, okay, I get what you're doing here, but it's still fun. It's a fun read. So.
And I'm actually surprised that it does have as much of a seemingly political bent as it has, because Jason's not super political in like his daily conversations. So it's kind of cool to see like, oh, he's thinking about this stuff.
That's
he's just
right.
not like, he's not filling every conversation with it. So he clearly has more of a healthy balance of in taking the news and talking about it with your friends than I do.
I was gonna say, I should take notes then.
Yeah,
I'd like to dive into his other work based on this because it is cool.
He did what was it? Tree Cemetery Beach. It's great. Yeah, he's great.
He's worked with Warren Ellis a lot. So you're not going to go wrong reading Trees or Cemetery Beach. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't read Cemetery Beach, but I love Trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I haven't read either. I will probably be checking it out today.
Trees is like what, 3 trades?
Yes.
Trees got.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a bit. I remember there being like a big break, but like because the image, if I remember correctly, it's like usually like you do enough for a first volume, you break for a trade, and then you pick right back. At least for the ongoing stuff. But I mean, you can speak more to that. What am I telling you for?
I think it just boils down to Warren's busy.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of projects. So I think Jason was twiddling his thumbs for a while between arcs, but he keeps busy. He's got a million things he's always working on.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, Derek, do you have a blog or anything that kind of you people can follow that as far as like future projects or things that you have going on?
Probably just my Instagram. I'm getting real close to just deactivating my Twitter account.
Oh.
Just like getting rid of it. So Derek Draws Instagram. That's also my Twitter, but I don't know how long that's going to be there.
Okay, guys, I figure we'll go ahead and wrap it up now. Don't forget to check out Derek Hunter's. Even though it looks like it's going to be done, still go buy it. It's an awesome. Yeah, I was going to say. So please buy it.
Do we have any links for Sam or?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put that. We'll put that stuff up. Check out Sam Stone on CBR.com as a staff writer. He wrote awesome articles. He did a great article a couple weeks ago that caused a little bit of a stir on Ghost of Tsushima. And then
don't direct people to
no, direct people to that because I still get paid on the
That's
website.
Right.
Hunting.
Yeah.
The most prolific writer at CBR, by the way. I think you crank out 100 articles a week or something like that. Some crazy number.
I can't remember if I said this last time, but I'll say it anyway just to make Samson blush. But I was talking with Ant Gramulia, and we were in chat, and I was talking to him using our IFLC account, which all three of us have access to. And what I was telling him, hey, you're going to be on the show. By the way, your coworker or fellow writer at CBR.com, Sam Stone's going to be there. And then somehow in the chat, I said something along the lines of, by the way, this account is 3 people. You know what I mean? And he goes, oh my God, that makes much more sense. And I was kind of confused. I'm like, why? And then he goes, I was wondering how you write that much. And I was like, what? And then he goes, yeah, I don't know anybody who puts out as much work as you. It makes so much more sense that it's 3 people. And I'm like, time out. Sam Stone is just one person. And he goes, oh, well, I'm back to being confused again.
Revealing this inside baseball fact.
Yeah.
Sam Stone is actually an amalgamation of 3 people.
Right.
Yeah, forget Batman 3
men in a trench coat.
It's Batman 3 Sam Stone.
That's right. All right, guys. You guys take it easy. Check out the links.
300,000 copies for my first issue.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Wait, Robo, before you go ahead, everyone leave us a like, please. It really helps us out. And share us with your friends because we're fucking dope.
But thanks to everybody in the chat. The chat really makes the show, especially when you're doing lives. Appreciate you coming out. And you guys take it easy. Don't forget to wear your mask and wash your hands. Take care.
Peace.
Thank you for watching IFLC. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and be free. Follow our links and watch our show because you want to and not because of the threats. Thank you for watching Judah, Robo, and Ree. We talk about comics, movies, and TV. Sometimes we have notable guests, and sometimes it's just us. But we're also cool.